It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Two bathtubs, two beautiful women, icons in their own right. Whitney Houston, the voice of a generation, and her daughter Bobbi Kristina Brown carrying her mother's legacy. Both found unresponsive, submerged in water in eerily similar circumstances, years apart. Accident? Tragic coincidence? Or was there something far more sinister weaving these two heartbreaking events together? The similarities are chilling, the questions unanswered, and the whispers of foul play refuse to fade. Let's dive into the disturbing parallels and the unsettling mysteries surrounding the deaths of Whitney and Bobbi Kristina, a story that will make you question everything you thought you knew.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
The world stopped when news broke on February 11th, 2012. Whitney Houston, just 48 years old, was gone. Found in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, the initial shock gave way to grief and then to confusion. Just 3 years later, in 2015, history seemed to repeat itself with a horrifying echo. Bobbi Kristina, Whitney's daughter, was discovered in a bathtub in her Georgia home, unconscious. It was almost unbelievable. Lightning striking twice in the same family in the same devastating way? The bathtub, a place of supposed safety and cleansing, became a scene of unimaginable tragedy for both mother and daughter. The initial reports painted similar pictures: accidental drowning, perhaps linked to substance use, but beneath the surface, doubts began to swirl, fueled by the sheer improbability of such a devastating repeat.
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over again.
Bobbi Kristina fought for months after being found in the tub, but tragically, she passed away in hospice care in July 2015. The official cause of death was eventually listed as pneumonia and encephalopathy, complications from being immersed in water and drug intoxication. The toxicology report was a grim list: alcohol, a cocaine-related substance, sedatives, anti-anxiety meds, and morphine. A cocktail that paints a picture of deep distress. Yet crucially, the medical examiner couldn't definitively say if her death was accidental or intentional. This ambiguity left room for speculation, and no one speculated louder than Bobbi Kristina's own father, Bobbi Brown. He publicly declared and continues to insist that his daughter didn't die from a bathtub incident. He claimed she was starved to death and pointed a finger directly at Nick Gordon, Bobbi Kristina's boyfriend at the time. Bobbi's pain and unwavering accusations added another layer of darkness to an already tragic story, hinting that the truth might be far more disturbing than the official reports suggested.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Let's rewind back to Whitney's death. The official verdict: accidental drowning, with heart disease and cocaine use listed as contributing factors. It seemed open and shut, a sad but understandable end for someone who had battled addiction. But when you dig deeper, the details become murky. Reports emerged that there wasn't enough water in Whitney's lungs to definitively say she drowned. This is a critical point. Drowning implies water inhalation, yet the autopsy findings seem to contradict this. Furthermore, while the coroner noted mild heart disease, they explicitly stated they found no evidence of a cardiac event, debunking the theory that a heart attack caused her to fall into the tub. So if it wasn't a heart attack, and maybe not even drowning in the traditional sense, what did cause Whitney to become submerged in scalding hot water and unable to get out? The questions began to mount, and the accidental drowning narrative started to crumble under scrutiny. Something didn't add up.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was.
As investigators and the public searched for answers, certain names kept resurfacing in connection to Whitney's final hours. One of them was Ray J. He was the last person to see her alive, having reportedly let her in her hotel room. Rumors of Ray J's involvement with Whitney's struggles had long circulated, and these rumors intensified after her death. Bobbi Brown's own sister Leola made explosive accusations claiming she saw Whitney's body and that she was beat up, not just someone who died in a tub. Leola went further, suggesting Ray J was involved in providing Whitney with drugs, even implying he might have given her a bad bag. Adding fuel to the fire was Ray J's seemingly suspicious behavior after Whitney's death. Accounts emerged of him trying to hide his face, being pushed into a car, acting in a way that suggested guilt or fear of exposure. Then there's the bizarre incident with Brandy, Ray J's sister. During a televised interview, Whitney, soaking wet but fully clothed, interrupted to hand Brandy a note. Brandy has steadfastly refused to reveal the contents of that note, saying she'll keep it for her own personal reason. Many believe Whitney intentionally passed the note on camera, perhaps as a safeguard, a hidden message in case something happened to her. The secrecy surrounding the note, coupled with Ray J's actions and Leola's accusations, cast a long shadow of suspicion, suggesting there was more to Whitney's death than met the eye.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J, and it all added up.
It also doesn't help that before.
Now let's circle back to Bobbi Kristina. Could she have known more than she let on about her mother's death? Some believe she did, and that this knowledge might have played a role in her own tragic end. Jaguar Wright, a singer and industry insider, claimed Bobbi Kristina was present during heated arguments between Whitney and music mogul Clive Davis in the days leading up to Whitney's death. Specifically, Wright alleged a major fight occurred just 2 days before Whitney died, around Grammy time, and that Bobbi Kristina witnessed at least part of it. Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party was infamously where Whitney was found dead. The implication is chilling. Could Bobbi Kristina have overheard something during those arguments? Something dangerous? Something that put her in harm's way years later? The theory suggests that Whitney's death wasn't just about her personal struggles, but potentially tied to industry conflicts, and that Bobbi Kristina, by being present, might have become collateral damage.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
The one name that relentlessly connects both Whitney and Bobbi Kristina's deaths is Nick Gordon. He was a constant presence in their lives, adopted by Whitney, and later in a relationship with Bobbi Kristina. Bobbi Brown has repeatedly stated his belief that Nick Gordon was responsible for both women's deaths. In Bobbi Kristina's case, the accusations against Nick Gordon are damning. A conservator filed a lawsuit on Bobbi Kristina's behalf, alleging he physically abused her, stole her money, and ultimately caused her death by giving her a toxic cocktail and placing her face down in the bathtub. The lawsuit details a history of violence and control, painting Nick Gordon as a deeply troubled and potentially dangerous figure. While Nick Gordon denied all allegations and even tried to deflect blame onto Bobbi Brown, his presence at the center of both tragedies is undeniable. He was there when Whitney died, and he was there when Bobbi Kristina was found unresponsive. Nick Gordon himself tragically passed away a few years later from a drug overdose, taking any potential answers he might have had with him. His death only deepens the mystery, leaving a void where explanations should be.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth.
So were Whitney and Bobbi Kristina victims of tragic accidents compounded by their personal battles? Or were they caught in a web of darker forces, industry secrets, and potentially calculated actions? The similarities in their deaths are too striking to ignore. The unanswered questions about Whitney's drowning, the accusations surrounding Ray J, the whispers of arguments with Clive Davis, and the shadow of Nick Gordon over both lives, it all creates a disturbing picture. We may never know the full truth of what happened to Whitney Houston and Bobbi Kristina Brown, but one thing is clear. Their stories are intertwined with tragedy, mystery, and lingering doubts about whether justice was ever truly served. Do you think Nick Gordon acted alone, or was he a pawn in a larger, more sinister game? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The eerie echo of these bathtub tragedies continues to resonate, reminding us that sometimes the most heartbreaking stories are the ones that remain shrouded in unanswered questions.